This identification is on entertainment history, also cultural history or intellectual history, and it is on Harry Houdini, 1874 to 1926. So Houdini actually is also, he immigrated to the United States. He was Jewish, born in Hungary. There were lots of problems going on in Hungary for Jews, and I think you could say it was partially a push for his family for migration, but also a pull for a better life. So they migrated to the United States, in which Harry Houdini grew up, and his goal in life was to become involved in entertainment. He, as a youngster, even before this shot, had hung out at some circuses and learned tricks at a few circuses, and had thought of working for the circus. But he went out on his own and started his own act away from the circus. And he did card tricks and other forms of tricks and just try and have small little shows to earn a living. Initially, like I said, the card tricks were something that he was very good at, but he is also a physical fitness. He was devoted to physical fitness, and he was interested in doing other more physical type acts, such as escape acts. Here, he got more, advanced in advertising with posters, and he would break out of little jails that he put up on stage, um, which would make the crowd, thrilled. So it was very popular. He spent time promoting it. He was good at promoting, and he was certainly good at inventing new escape type acts. He went on here to do what was the famous Chinese water torture cell, in which he was locked in a tank of water, in which he escaped. This has been shown in a few movies, even some movies with actors trying to reenact what happened. So this was a popular thing. He put up rewards if people could do it themselves or figure out how to do it. And so the rewards actually attracted more and more people to his shows. Here he is chained up. Sometimes he would jump into rivers and lakes. And he would do this for free, but he would get notoriety in the newspapers and then escape from the straitjackets or the chains of the ropes and swim to the top, much to the fascination of the crowds. Other acts, he did many different variety of acts. In this act, he was good. He was put inside this little container with water and then escaped. So he always billed the stuff as death defying, and actually many of the acts were quite dangerous. He barely survived some of his shows. But the outdoor shows brought publicity, but then he charged admission to come into the indoor shows, and and made a lot of money that way, and was very popular. He met his wife, who was to become uh, Bessie Houdini, who was part of the show, and they became married and stayed married permanently. And she traveled around with Houdini. We see posters in whatever city he traveled to, and then he would sell tickets and continue to make money. He became one of the most famous entertainers at the turn of the century, for sure. And he he wasn't really in vaudeville, but vaudeville was another form of entertainment, which was becoming very popular. But Houdini frequently traveled on his own too, and to do these shows. So he would sometimes trick. He did magic tricks, but he also didn't really believe at all in the spiritual element of the world, but he would visit mediums and seances and try and debunk them, and then he would put on his uh, discussions with the audience about the spirit world. So when he died, he died after there's of appendicitis. He was also a boxer and had been hit in the stomach, but they don't know if that is why the appendix burst. But he died of appendicitis. But he did leave in his will that he would leave a large reward if anyone could ever bring his spirit back. And of course, he didn't really believe that would happen, but it was another thing that made him famous. Um, at the time of his death, the reward was mentioned in the newspaper headlines. Interestingly, his wife actually tried to bring him back a number of years later. Um, she actually believed that she could, but she was never successful. No one was ever successful in bringing him back. But there is a story out there that there was a large lightning storm in the last time she attempted to bring him back, which kind of fits into the fascinating story of Harry Houdini, who died in 1926.